So we kind of have laid out, not just from the standards, but like, here are the skills we're going to be focused on. You can't just lay them out on a piece of paper and be like, oh, I see that you were working on communication skills. Sure, it's on the rubric at the end. So I think part of it is laying it out in a kid-friendly rubric and being like, this is what the expectation is. So let's talk about what proficient, I mean, using those academic terms, but let's talk about what proficient means as we talk about collaboration, as we talk about our communication skills and our thinking skills and our research skills, or whatever those different pieces are off of that gamut of different skills that we're trying to get kids to consume. And we're trying to be intentional that we're doing different ones. Some will be carryover, like the communication skills. If you're working in a group, that's going to show up on the rubric for you. So I think telling them kind of where we're headed first, and then holding that as the anchor as you're having those private conversations. I noticed that your group, if we can get your rubric out, you starred where you wanted to be. Let's talk about that. How do you think that's going? And I think it doesn't just happen because we wish it upon them. It takes time. And like I said, when we have more opportunity to grow and get feedback from it and have those small conversations, they're going to get there a lot quicker because they're getting bite-sized pieces to move forward. And different groups need different things, or different kids need different things. And so I think at first laying out for me, what does it really mean to be proficient in communication? Here you're able to demonstrate X, Y, and Z. And then use those as talking points as we're going through. To celebrate, hey, I really noticed you're doing X, Y, and Z through this example. Or, hey, let's go to that rubric. You said you wanted to be here. I'm not really seeing this. And replace that behavior. Just like any good behavior, you take away the bad behavior and you replace it with what you want to see. The same thing for those soft skills of those 21st century skills. I'm noticing that we're struggling because, you know, in one group in particular, there's about 7 girls in that group. I had a conversation with them yesterday. Let's talk about these communication skills. Right now, though your product is looking really good, I'm noticing that you all are talking to each other with a little bit of vinegar in your voice, and it's sounding, you want it to sound like leadership, I assume, assuming positive intentions, but it's sounding like we're barking orders at each other. How could we change that? And so brainstorming with that group. Well, I think if we made different sections, everybody could talk. And so they brainstormed with me, and then I sent them out to the world. And then I'm watching from a distance as I'm working with other groups. Go back and either celebrate it or take away a behavior and replace it and brainstorm with them again. I think that is the difference. I'm a floater. Like at a hospital, and I'm just going from room to room, right? As opposed to everybody's getting the same thing, and it's harder to get that formative data and specifics to the soft skills because you're always going to see the product at the end, but sometimes it's hard to evaluate those 21st century skills just off the product at the end. And so being intentional to go meet with different groups at different times, either through a sign-up process, having a student teacher, hey, here's our goal today. You're going to take these 3 groups, I'm going to take these 3 groups. Let's really hold them accountable to where they're at in the process. We want to see them at least this far based on where we mapped out in our 2-week cycle about where they should be. Have them get out their planners, see if they're where they're at. Let's talk about those time management skills. So kind of those pieces.